Hey YouTube, so in this video I wanted to go over the 2020 recovery rebate credit that is reported on a 2020 tax return. The recovery rebate credit is attributed to the stimulus checks that went out during the year, right? So you recall there were basically two rounds of stimulus checks. There was the first round roughly in May or so, when they finally figured out how to kind of implement the system. And then the second round was at the end of 2020, January 2021, where there was a second round of stimulus checks in different amounts. So what's unique about this though is a lot of taxpayers did get kind of shorted during the year where they were either underpaid or the credits were lost. And the way to kind of true up what you were supposed to get is done on the 2020 tax return. And so just to highlight, this is the IRS has their information on the website here on who qualifies and how to complete the worksheets. But what's interesting about this is they didn't create a separate IRS form, right? So there's no separate form, but they just created a worksheet and then you add the item to page 2 of your Form 1040. So if we look at this example here, I have an example set up where we have a husband and wife, have 2 children, and then in their unique scenario, which is commonplace, they had a child that was born during 2020. So the child was born during 2020, the IRS didn't have their information, and so although they were eligible for that additional payments, the $500 initially, and then the second round of $600, they got shorted the $1,100 because the IRS did not know that they had that second child born during the tax year. So the rebate credit, once it's computed, is reported down here, page 2 of the 1040, line 30, recovery rebate credit. And so I will go through the worksheet and see kind of how we arrived, at that number. So in this worksheet, so this is prepared and populated with the tax software we use, but you can get this same worksheet available on the IRS site. And so what it does is it separates the workaround into two rounds, right? So we have the EIP 1 round and EIP 2. So you recall for the EIP 1 round, we had adults, right? So adults were supposed to get $1,200 each. So this couple was supposed to get $2,400, and then you got $500 per child in that first round of stimulus checks, so $1,000. So in total, this couple, 2 adults, 2 kids, should have received $3,400 in credits, right? And so what the worksheet does is you indicate down here on line 16 that they only received $2,900, right? So they got $2,400, husband and wife, and then they got $500 for just that first child. So they were shorted the extra $500 from the first round of stimulus checks. And so and then it asks you to go through the same process for EIP 2, right? So you recall EIP 2 was $600 per person across the board. So 2 adults were supposed to get $1,200, right? So $600 for husband, $600 for wife, and then they were supposed to get this extra $600 for their second child. So in total, the whole family, again, it should have gotten the, let's see, so it should have gotten, I don't know what's the total, my math is struggling here. So they should have gotten the $3,400 in the first round, and then they should have gotten $1,800 in total for that second round of stimulus checks. And so, and the math checks out, right? So if you complete the worksheet here, the recovery rebate credit is $1,100, which again, it makes sense, right? The second child was supposed to get $500 in the first round, and then the second round $600 extra. So the total recovery rebate credit for this family is the $1,100. And so once you compute what you should have gotten using the worksheet, the amount is reported up here on line 30, and you can go ahead and file your tax return, and you will get a credit for the amount that you were supposed to be paid. So that covers it. Again, it's a relatively is straightforward because you're going to know what you should have gotten. I think this worksheet here can be kind of confusing, but at the end of the day, the number that you see down there should be what you know you should have gotten, right? So I mean, just make sure you populate the worksheet correctly because it is transmitted. Or it's part of your final return, right? So when you print your return out and keep it for your records, you want to be able to show the IRS, look, this is how I arrived at this amount. And then you're all set and you're good to go. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Happy to answer them. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you.